Dagoth's plans. The following documents were prepared by temple scholars in ages of the Inquisition for Lord Vivek. From the interrogation of captured sleepers and other Sixth House cultists, from the study of manuscripts written by cultists and victims of the dream-induced mania, from interviews with Lord Vivek concerning historical campaigns against Red Mountain, and from broad conjectures and inferences made upon these materials, this is our best estimate of Dagoth's motivations and objectives in this most recent phase of his war upon Morrowind. Basic objectives. Establish a theocracy in Morrowind based on the worship of the newborn god Akula Khan. Second Numidium. To be created by Dagoth from the heart of Lokan and a body constructed according to the principles and rituals pioneered by the Dwemer Kegranak. Establish the ancient heirs of the House Dagoth as the god priests of Akula Khan, and the Sixth House of Dagoth as the dominant political power in Morrowind. Through charismatic conversion, unite the Dunmer under the guidance of Dagoth to battle against the foreign animals who hold Morrowind in subjection. Note: Dagoth has apparently adopted the views and motivations of the Dwemer High Craft Lord Kegranak. In effect, he recapitulates the ancient blasphemous folly of the Dwemer. 2. Expose the false worship of the Tribunal and destroy the ecclesiastical authority and political power of the Temple. How much the dissident priest or the cult of Nerevarine may be controlled or influenced by the Sixth House in this regard is open to speculation. 3. Extirpate all remaining individuals of inferior and mongrel races from Morrowind. 4. Drive the Empire from Morrowind. 5. Recover ancient territories stolen by Skyrim and Argonia. 6. Extend the worship of Akula Khan to all nations of Tamriel through subversion and conquest. Plans to establish and expand the Sixth House. Phase 1. Secure Red Mountain against Tribunal intruders. Deny Tribunal access to the heart, weakening the temple while securing Red Mountain for the creation of Akula Khan. Keep the construction of the Second Numidium a secret. Phase 2. Create passive servants in ever-widening circles around Red Mountain by broadcasting compulsions couched in dream imagery to susceptible subjects in their sleep. Establish a major operational base at Kogarun for further operations in the Ash Wastes. Establish smaller bases near small port villages and in lower-class waterfront districts in Vivek. Infiltrate and subvert smuggling syndicates. Recruit willing followers from disaffected populations, including the underworld, the poor, and the rabid anti-imperial activists. Phase 3. Expand from smaller bases to other towns and villages, and recruit and indoctrinate subjects made susceptible by dream sendings. Occupy abandoned towers and ruins and train corrupted cultists as raiders and irregular troops. Identify, discredit, and decimate as possible sources of political resistance. Phase 4. Use assassination and terror to weaken, distract, and disrupt the legions and the imperial bureaucracy, along with their Halalu sympathizers. Inspire popular uprisings of the native poor against the foreign rich and powerful. Summon sleepers and dreamers to Dagoth to work on Second Numidian. Inferring Dagoth's perspectives. Dagoth thinks on a large time scale, for the most part in the outside of time scale of the divine consciousness. He thinks that only obstacles of mythic scale are worth consideration. He believes he is fated to rule Morrowind, to free Morrowind of the Empire, and to become the new hard-loving father of Morrowind. Given that perspective, the only opposing forces Dagoth worries about are the Tribunal, the Daedra, the Emperor, and the Incarnate. With the Tribunal's loss of Sunder and Keening, and with the diminishing resources of Vivek, Amalexia, and Sothis Sil, Dagoth believes he has permanently gained a decisive strategic advantage. On a mortal timescale, the battle may last for centuries, but the outcome is not in doubt, and Akula Khan may be a device for dramatically reducing the timescale for a decisive victory. The myth of the dynamic invincibility of the Emperor and the Empire has long been an unquantifiable and intimidating threat, but recent rumors of unrest in Citadel, of the Emperor's failing health, and the unsettled question of the succession have diminished the scale of that threat. Nonetheless, the revelation that the Nerevarine is a pawn of the Imperial intelligence handpicked and sent to Morrowind by the Emperor himself may cause Dagoth considerable anxiety. The Daedra represent no coherent obstacle to Dagoth. Nonetheless, their personal abilities and their influence upon their fanatic followers is considerable, their motives and actions obscure, and Dagoth remains concerned about them. The Incarnate represents Saint Nerevar, a mythic force that has previously defeated Dagoth, and Dagoth is obsessed with this threat. At the same time, Dagoth knew Nerevar personally, knew that he was a mortal man with faults and weaknesses. Dagoth may have some hope of seducing or negotiating with Nerevar's reincarnation. Further, when Nerevar and the Tribunal defeated Dagoth, they were strong and allied. Now, the Nerevarine and the Tribunal are weak, opposed, and divided. Therefore, though the Nerevarine and the Tribunal represent the most serious threats to Dagoth's plans, he still has good reason to believe that this time he will prevail. A recent timescale of Dagoth's activities, much of the following timescale is based on inference from incomplete information. Before 2E882, Dagoth and his kin lie dreaming beneath the sills of Red Mountain. 2E882. Dagoth and his ash vampires awake, refreshed, and emerge from the lower Red Mountain into the hot chamber. Dagoth ritually binds himself and his brethren as hot whites in a ritual of his own devising. First stages of construction of Second Numidian, conceived during the long sleep, are begun by hot whites and Atronach constructs in a chamber near the heart of Lorkhan. Keeping the Second Numidian project a secret from the Tribunal is high priority. 2E882. The Tribunal arrive at Red Mountain for their annual ritual bathing in the heart's power. Dagoth and ash vampires ambush the Tribunal. The Tribunes are driven away and prevented from restoring themselves with Kagranak's tools at the heart of Lorkhan. 2E882 to 3E417. Intermittent Tribunal campaigns assault Red Mountain. The Tribunal and supporting forces seek to force access to the Heart Chamber, but are repeatedly driven back. Dagoth recruits sleepers and dreamers through dream sendings. Cultists are recruited through dream compulsion. Weaker cultists become corporous beasts. Stronger cultists advance through the stages towards the powers of ascended sleepers. 3E400. Kogarun reoccupied by Dagoth Uthal and fortified as an advance base for the Six House operations. Blight storms more frequent and widespread. Soul sickness spreads in regions close to Red Mountain. 3E410. Six House bases founded near Narmak and in the waterfront areas of Vivek. Six House operatives exploit smuggler organizations and communications to spread their influence among victims, unbalanced by Dagoth's dream sendings. 3E415. Small cells of Six House cultists in every town in Vardenfell. Larger Six House operations are concealed in remote dungeons where creatures are bred and cultists are trained for the coming struggle. 3E417. Amalexia and Sothasil lose the artifacts Keening and Sunder to Dagoth Odros and Vimin. Vivek rescues Amalexia and Sothasil, but failing to recover Keening and Sunder, the Tribunal retreat from Red Mountain in disorder. Surviving Buoyant Armature companions know the Tribunal was forced to retreat, but do not know how serious a reversal of the Tribunal has suffered. The three Tribunes return to their respective capitals and continue to perform their ritual functions. The Tribunes continue to grow weaker without access to the heart and because resources required to support the Ghost Fence. The inner circle of the Temple priesthood has begun to suspect the Tribunes have suffered seriously from wounds and demoralization in the wake of the reverses at Red Mountain, but do not recognize the scale of the problem. 3E426 to 427. Campaign of the Six House assassinations of prominent Imperial citizens and Halalu Imperial sympathizers, sudden increase in number and seriousness of attacks by cultists and victims deranged by soul sickness. Noted with concern. 1. Dagoth can apparently perceive and communicate directly through his cultists. Sleepers and dreamers are often reported speaking as though with Dagoth's voice and intention. 2. Little is known about the features, scale, or stage of completion of Akula Khan, Second Numidium. No one has gained entrance to the Hot Chamber since 2E282. In 3E417, Keening and Sunder were captured and may substantially aid in Akula Khan's construction.